I'm really gonna need Christine to make a writer's version of this sweatshirt that just says, writer's gonna write, dab! Except without the dab! It's 2018, why am I still dabbing? It's writing update time! I was actually pretty terrified posting my first writing vlog, and that is for two different reasons. The first one is that it was kind of scary for me just to put myself out there about writing. Part of that because I feel like there's a bad rep for booktubers wanting to become writers, which I completely understand. It seems like we all want to write books these days, but I feel like that's kind of a pretty natural thing for us. We all love stories, and I feel like it's not just booktubers wanting to become writers, it's also other readers out there who don't even make booktube content online, like they want to become writers as well. I feel like it's just natural for a lot of readers to end up dreaming about one day becoming an author. But regardless, I was overwhelmed by the amount of love and support I got on my first writing vlog, and it was so exciting reading all of your comments and hearing about the stories that you're working on. Some of you guys are just so creative. Like, can I have some of that creativity, please? Because I need some of that creativity. Also, I want to read all of your books right now. The second reason I was afraid to post that video was because I was afraid that it was going to be a curse. Now, this is going to sound ridiculous, but I was afraid that if I posted that video, I would just suddenly get this huge writer's block and I would stop making progress on any of my writing projects. Which, sure enough, the first week after posting that video, I wrote nothing, and it was scary. I was like, great, my nightmare's coming true! But after a week of not writing, I was hitting the grind again and I was writing. Quite a bit has changed since my last writing update, so I'm excited to fill you guys in. So I was originally working on two different story ideas. One was a contemporary story and one was a middle grade / young adult fiction story, which we should come together and create what that is going to be called, like what that age group is called. Let's come up with a mashup name together in the comments. Comment down below what you think it should be titled, and the one that gets the most thumbs up will be chosen as the age group for the young adult / middle grade audience. Anyways, those were the two stories that I was working on. In the video, I talked about how I was really struggling getting back into my contemporary story after taking quite a bit of time away from it, and I ultimately decided that I need to just set it aside for now because I think that the story needs to do a lot more marinating up here in the noggin. I was writing it knowing where I wanted the story to end up, but I was struggling getting it to that point and figuring out kind of all the layers of the story and how I was going to bring the story to that big grand finale. And I think in order for me to carry on that story, I need to do a lot more planning, a lot more brainstorming. I need to figure out my characters a little bit more, even though I feel like I know them pretty well. And I just overall need to get a better structured outline for that story. With that being said though, the fantasy story has completely taken over my life, and I'm not mad about it. I've been loving writing this fantasy story. I think the reason it's working out better for me is because I did a lot more planning on the fantasy story than I originally did on the contemporary story. I have a clear picture of where I'm going with this story, and I have these stepping stones to get there. I think I'm also just generally more passionate about writing a story that has a touch of magic in it. I just love magic so much. Just because I'm super excited and passionate about it doesn't mean that it's not coming with its own complications. Coming up with a fantasy world is not easy, and I know that even when I finish this first draft, the world is going to be broken and I'm going to have to go back through and figure out how to fix it. But at the same time, it's also been a really fun process of figuring everything out and just seeing how it all comes together and seeing how it all works. I think the thing that I'm going to struggle with the most is the politics of the world. That's definitely just not my strong suit. Mind you, the world isn't necessarily a huge part of the story. It's mostly just a backdrop, but I still want it to be believable and I want it to feel rich. I've started using this flimsy notebook as a story bible for my story, which has been super helpful. As I'm writing the story, I myself am learning more about the story. I kind of went into the writing process knowing a general idea as to how the world works, but I didn't know every little thing about the world, and as I started writing, you kind of start to come up with these new ideas as you're writing. So I've just been writing them in this little notebook, and it's been super helpful to be able to reference this as I move on with the story. So if you're working on a fantasy story, I highly recommend creating like a story bible for your story, where you're actively writing down different things about your world or your characters, because it can be a lot sometimes to try and remember everything. I forgot to mention that originally I was writing this story down, but I have now switched over to typing down the story instead of just writing it all out. I think if I get stuck writing the story, then I'll return to writing it down and just kind of work out things. But for now, I've decided to flesh the story out on the computer just because I think that's just more logical. Currently this month, I'm trying to write 1,000 words a day. I've been using a bullet journal habit tracker system for this. As you can see, I've missed a day, and one of the days I only wrote half the words, and I haven't even written today, so I am just exposing myself. I think monthly challenges like this are super important because it's really taking this goal that you're trying to achieve and it's working it into your everyday life. It's about working this thing that you really want to do into your everyday life as a normal habit. So even if I have days where I'm only writing half the word count, I'm still writing for that day, so for me that's still a win. I will say it was really hard the day where I just couldn't get myself to write. I felt so guilty and bad about it, but I had to remind myself that you're still going to have bad days. You're still going to have days where it's hard to write. You just have to get back on the horse the next day and it'll be okay. Something else that I've been kind of constantly having to remind myself throughout this process of writing the first draft is that it's not the finished product. Yes, it is one step in the right direction, but it is not the finished product. Because I'll be the first one to admit that my first draft is currently trash. There might be a few little golden nuggets here and there, but it's mostly trash. But it's okay though, because this is the first draft. And I'm only allowing my eyes to see it at this point. I'm not letting anybody read my first draft. Eventually, I do want some critique partners to look over my story and to rip it to shreds, but I think that will come with the second draft because I'm not ready for that yet. And I'm honestly so excited to get to the editing process stage where I go back and fix things that are just super messy, and I'm ready to rip to shreds my writing and make things sound better. But right now, it's all about getting the story out of my system and finishing something so that I can go back and have something to work with. But I just have to keep reminding myself as I'm writing that I will come back and I will fix this crazy mess. I'm going to leave you guys with a quote today from this book that I've been reading recently called Things Are What You Make of Them, Life Advice for Creatives. This book just has a bunch of different things on creativity, and the one that I'm going to read you is titled, I Can't Do This. I can't do this. This might be the most basic of all fears, also the easiest to conquer. How do you know you can't do it if you haven't actually fully tried? You can't win a race you don't run, and it's not really running if you didn't train beforehand. Maybe try trying. You can do this. You can reach your goal. You just have to try, and you have to believe in yourself, and you have to stop saying, I can't do this, and start holding on to the fact that you can do this. That little speech was for you, but it was also for me. We can do this, guys. That's it for today's writing vlog. I hope that you guys enjoyed this vlog. Also, I wanted to mention that I have been updating My Write Club, which if you don't know what My Write Club is, it's where you can set writing goals for your writing projects, and then throughout the month you can update it. It's basically like Goodreads, but for writing. So I will leave a link down below to my account, and you guys should totally sign up for an account so that I can see your progress as well. I have my middle grade / young adult book titled as Magic currently because I don't know what the title is going to be, so I just titled it Magic. You guys should let me know down below in the comments how your writing projects are doing. If you didn't join us for the first writing vlog, let me know a little bit about your writing project. I want to hear from you guys and hear how it's going. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos frequently on this channel, so if you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and click the little bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye. Choo.